What's up, chat? Welcome in, everybody. It's Wednesday. We're getting wacky, I guess. It's like sort of a meme at this point. But I keep saying, like, oh, I want to start a regular show on Wednesdays. I think that would be fun. And then a million things get scheduled on Wednesday. We're going to be live here on this channel for about 8 hours today because we have this. And then a couple hours down the road, we have 4 hours down the road from now. We have T5S2 Invitational game, pause, T5S2 Invitational game. So crazy amounts of live streaming over here on this channel. But the big one today, folks, is that Warhammer 40k has been fixed. It's no longer a bad game. We swear. There's no problems with it whatsoever. We got an emergency balance patch up ahead of the Nova Open. Thank fucking God. I'm glad that they patched the game before the only event that I'm ever gonna play it ever. Yeah, it's seen basically no changes to anything except Leagues of Votann now in the Munitorum Field Manual. Let's fucking go. There's new Salamanders out of the blue. Although I think we saw that coming because Art of War leaked it actually by accident. So, as they are wont to do. And lastly, Death Guard and Knights got absolutely shafted. So finally, thank God. Can we stop just playing into this degenerate, horrible metagame and actually play some interesting fucking 40k? I'm so excited, chat. So let's hop into all these changes. Here we go. Look at all this new stuff over on Warhammer community. We'll see. Death Guard not nerfed enough. Well, let's see how they go. I kind of want to talk about Salamanders real quick. Rip the band-aid off these guys. Very little has changed for Salamanders here. They did get a
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $6 through Super Chat.
Thank you for the Super Chat.
Death Guard is dead. Long live Admech, the new meta king.
Long live Admech. Long live Thousand Suns, I think, is probably what we're going to see, right? Because they were, like, pretty good, just overshadowed. And now I think they're just going to be very strong. I'm also, we'll see, like, Tyranids might be good now. Like, it's a whole new world. As we talked about yesterday, the game is broken wide fucking open as soon as Knights and Death Guard get nerfed. And if those are no longer tippy top of the meta and the only thing you can play competitively, things are actually really interesting and cool. So I don't know. I think it's going to be sick. Anyway, let's talk real quick about this new Salamander stuff. They have a new detachment. It's Firestorm Assault Force with extra steps, basically. It's like a little bit of a side grade, but there is some really important inclusions. So you can include Salamanders units. You cannot include any other chapter, so you cannot play this detachment in Blood Angels or whatever. It has the exact same detachment ability as a Firestorm Assault Force, so +1 strength within 12 and assault on ranged weapons. However, we also get a second ability. If you include Vulcan Heston, Infernus squads can advance and perform actions, as well as advance and shoot, which is actually kind of huge. So that's enormous. That's actually a very, very big improvement, because usually 90% of the time, if you're playing Firestorm Assault Force, you're playing Vulcan anyway, so that's not really like a downgrade. And suddenly you get really powerful utility units, which is really cool. It trades Champion of Humanity, so the Tacticus only ignore all modifiers enhancement for Immolator, which is +1 attack to torrent weapons in the bearer's unit. That seems pretty good. They're trying to incentivize you to play 10-man Infernus bricks, I think. And with the new drop pods, it might actually be pretty okay, because you can get +10 attacks, put this on a captain, drop them in, 1 CP Immolation Protocol, point Vulcan at the unit, you do 1 trillion damage. So could be good. I don't know. War Tempered Artifice is still there, +3 strength. Fortune Battle still there. Turn a hit or a saving throw to a 6 once per turn. And Adamantine Mantle, -1 damage or protection against Torrent and Melta. Also pretty good. I appreciate that it's change damage to 1 against Torrent weapons. Are there any 3 damage Torrent weapons in the game? I actually have no idea. I guess there are D3 damage Torrents, so I guess that does make sense. Does this replace Firestorm? No. No, this is in addition to Firestorm Assault Force. So normal chapters can play Firestorm. Salamanders can play this or Firestorm. depending on what they want to do. I think 90% of the time you're going to choose this. The only thing it really lost was that Champion of Humanity. Some of the stratagems are different. Armor of Contempt the same, Crucible Battle the same, Burning Vengeance the same, Immolation Protocols the same.
Ryan G donated $10 through Super Chat. Votann codec points seem pretty reasonable. Only one I disagree with is Hearthguard. Still too expensive for the octuple nerf. Also think Typhus could have stayed at 90 for his role.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if Hearthguard like suffered for Steeljacks to exist, because they're like, oh man, we have a heavy infantry in this faction. How do we incentivize people to play the new heavy infantry? Or just nerf the existing one to the dirt. If I were to put on my tinfoil hat, I feel like that would be what I need there. Yeah, so the re-embark is gone. However, you got a big, huge upgrade, which is Wrathful Inferno, Infantry, Fallback, and Shoot. So you don't have the in and out with Vulcan that you used to, but your infantry can't get pinned down anymore, which was a big downside. And you get the bonus to Infernus Marines, but you lost the what do you call it? The ignore modifiers enhancement, which is actually kind of insane. For the new torrent weapon enhancement. So again, it's a side grade, right? It's not a perfect replacement. There's reasons to play either version of this. Blazing Earth is the last one. It's pretty sort of specific. Although I think it's going to be strong. Use it at the start of your opponent's charge phase. If you have a unit equipped with torrent weapons, you select an enemy unit, excluding a monster or vehicle that flies. Oh, excuse me. Monsters and vehicles and units with fly. Excuse me. The idea is that you are setting the ground before them alight, and it gives them -2 to charge. However, if you fly, you can just go over. Not including monsters and vehicles is kind of a big deal, because that's a lot of in a lot of deep strike threats, in my opinion, which is like where this sort of ability becomes really powerful. But it's definitely not going to be bad for sure. If your opponent's like posting up a Blade Guard veteran unit, they're about to charge you, and you're like, yeah, make your charge suck. It's gonna be not too bad. And it works with any torrent equipped Adeptus Astartes unit. So any what's interesting is that like you can have a BGV unit with Adrax in it. Adrax has a torrent weapon, so the unit is equipped with one or more torrent weapons. And then you select a unit 12 inches away from your unit with the torrent weapon. So Adrax makes the whole Blade Guard veteran squad eligible to use the strat. You can also have like Land Raider Redeemers use it, so that's going to be pretty relevant as well. So it's not just like Infernus Marines and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It seems fine. And for that one, they lost. What was the trade-off there? Probably not one that I used very often because I don't even remember. They lost their... Oh, when you shoot some... you get +1 to hit when you disembark a transport and give people battle shock checks. Yeah, whatever. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use that stratagem. Anyway, folks. Pretty nice. Vulcan got a new data sheet, although not really. I think the only statistical improvement is that his spear got devastating wounds. I believe he's otherwise identical. Did his flamer... Was that always AP1? Yeah, it was. Yeah. He didn't even get lance, which is like, it blows my mind every time. The fact that a spear doesn't have lance. I'm like, come on, guys. What are we doing here? And then he still gets wound rerolls, 24 inches visible. His top line's the same, which like blows my mind, but he gained Tacticus, so he can go into Immolators, which is a big deal. Or Impulsors, excuse me. So, it is an upgrade for him. Because, but it's not, it's very minor. It's extremely, extremely minor. It's also only 5 wounds, which feels, I think he's like a big dude. His model seems physically very large. 5 wound, like Space Marine Captain profile feels a little bit light for it, but I don't know. It's literally Vulcan's spear. Is it actually? It's so small. Wait, like Vulcan himself used it, and it's like a toothpick. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Oh, he used his ability when he set up on the battlefield. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So he can use it in transports. Yeah, that was a big downside previously too. You had to keep him out and then either rapid embark him or just run him into a transport later. Fair enough. Anyway, chat. He got his gauntlet got pistol, so he could shoot both his pistols. Pew 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 pew. Akimbo, the Akimbo pistols. Let's go. Woo. Anyway, chat. That's Salamanders. Little light, I think. The detachment just being Firestorm feels a little bit weird, but I don't know. Like Firestorm with some extra bits was a strange choice, but that's okay. Let's move on and talk about the important stuff that we want to talk about. So a lot of these updates on Warhammer Community are just removing Votann stuff from old index Votann stuff from the roster. So there were no balance data slate changes. That was just Votann stuff being removed. There were no index card changes. That was just Votann stuff being removed. And no, Votann have new things in the Munitorum Field Manual. But as we have mentioned before, whenever they release a new codex, they give you changes based on the numbers in that codex. So this looks like there's a bunch of buffs and nerfs, but that's only because they have changed from where they were the printed values. Arcanist Evaluator is 75 points. That's a lot. Is that good? I don't know, man. I guess like he's got like a lone operative effect, right? So he's a little goober who runs around. So maybe they don't want you to spam lone ops, which is probably why. But 75 feels like a lot. I don't know. Broke Your Thunderkin went down. We're on triple Broke Your Thunderkin every time here. Chthonian Earthshaker's at 110. Feels kind of meh. Hagaton Land Fortress went up to 240. But that's Land Raider like levels, which I think feels pretty appropriate. Its damage output's higher than the Land Raider if it's getting +1 to hit. So it's like a side grid, I guess, which feels okay. Steeljack's at 30 points per model is crazy. Well, they went up because the Vulcanite Steeljack points were 160. I remember, which I was like blown away by. I was like, this is gonna be triple in every army. Going up a little bit makes sense, but 30 points per model does feel good for that. I think that they are what like tactical Terminators wish they could be. Otho the Destined up to 95. I think he's going to be taken in every Votann army, so it makes sense to me. Melee Steeljacks, I don't know how to feel about them. So I don't know. That doesn't feel super great. Memnir Strategist only 45 points though. Let's go. That's sick. That guy's going to be good. Einhir Hearthguard at 27 points per model. They're 3 points less than Ironkin, but one less wound and like worse gun. Yeah. Woof. Have I rolled the Evaluator? Oh, is he good? I haven't seen him on the table. I haven't seen any new Votann on the table because like the points haven't been out, so I haven't played against them. But if he's good, then fair enough, I guess. It's just like he's getting to like heavy infantry, right? Because he can rock like a bunch of 3 damage, strength 8, but like lighter vehicles and stuff feels like he'll fall down a little bit. But I don't know. Yeah, less toughness too on the Einhir Hearthguard. It does feel weird that it doesn't feel like they know what they want to do with this unit because they feel like they want to make them into Primera Space Marines, right? Except that they're like meant to be Terminator equivalents. But then they put them on 32s and made them a little guy. And then they're like, if we make them too tanky, it won't make sense that they're on 32s and they're a little guy. That's sort of how it feels to me. I don't know. Are the melee checks good? Are they? They seemed really mediocre when we read them on stream. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, again, this is all sight unseen. I haven't seen any. I haven't played with any of this stuff. I don't know where my cards went. Oops. Oh, I put them in my cloud so that I could stream them on the road. Melee Steeljacks. There's 6 attacks at 6-2-1 sustain. I mean, that's pretty good, but that's like that. They're like strictly worse than like turreted melee warriors, which are like a fringe playable profile in a faction that is like hurting for strong melee. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but it doesn't, it's not like blowing my mind. You convert 100% of your attack into hits? Sure. So like, yeah, so theoretically, right, you're attacking somebody on an objective and you're sustaining. So you get you're swinging 36, you get 36. But into heavy targets, right, you're only handing 12 saves at AP2. And into lighter stuff, you know, it's like 24 AP2. So they'll clear like what do they kill reliably? Like 5 Space Marines. they probably won't kill a 10 brick, right? In one go. And I guess they're relatively resilient on the crackback, so it's not like they're taking a ton of damage in the swing back, which I guess is helpful. But they're also move 5. Like I don't know. I don't know. They get precision, which could be niche. Well, it's critical precision, so it's not even particularly reliable precision. So if your opponent is in a situation where the precision matters, then you might get it. But again, it's only on average. Even if you rock a full brick of attacks, it's only 6 wounds out of precision. If you're targeting an enemy on an objective marker, and 6 wounds with precision does not kill most characters in the game. Doesn't even come close. If you spike out super hard, it's good. I do like it on the Vulcanite Disintegrator guys. As somebody pointed out, all your devastating wounds on the Disintegrator guys become precision, which is actually sick, because then you just hand your opponent a bunch of mortals, and they just die if you spike them. If you don't spike them, you just don't hand them the attacks over. But these guys, like, you don't really want to be sinking attacks into characters where you're not going to kill them. So if you don't roll a trillion precision attacks, like, you just don't bother. But anyway, I don't know. Chat. The unit doesn't seem that great to me. I think they could cut 10 to 20 points, and I think it would be fine. But the 6-man.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. Big thing is they give Votann something other than bikes to hold points. They'll also be -1 to wound.
Do they need... Votann does not strike me as a faction that is going to be hurting for units that hold points. This army that's like for sure gonna have like 4 Hearthkid Warrior units and 2 Capricus defenders or Capricus carriers or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily need like this unit of guys. Maybe it's fine, but compared to the Disintegrator unit, it does not look as good for sure. Let's talk about nerfs, chat. We talked about Votann for a while. Problem with the shooty ones is that they have no way to reroll wounds, so devastating is mostly anecdotic. Is it a word? The big thing though is that the Vulcanite Steeljacks shoot so many times that it matters, right? Devastating is such a powerful effect. Even if you get a handful of them naturally on a high volume weapon, it's gonna matter quite a bit, right? And so like this, if the unit you're shooting only averages like pumping 6 mortals into something, It's actually sick. That's actually really good. Or like 5 mortals, probably, I guess, more realistically. So, like, if you could bring a 180-point unit that every time it fired just did 5 mortals or something, you would take that every time. Like, so many armies would take that. And then also they have, like, high volume with natural wounds and stuff. All right, chat. Let's talk about Imperial Knights. Armiger Helverin up 10. Thank God. Skysweeper Protocols needs to be punished. Canis Rex, not a huge nerf, up 35. Night Castellan up 15. Crusader up 30. All the bigs up 30, it looks like. Valiant's only up 15, which is fair. I think it's not very good. Warden went up 20. All the Cerastus went up, except for the Atropos. Went up 30, except for the Atropos that went up 40. So the 5 big Imperial Knight list went up. If it was triple Atropos, it went up 185 points. Which I'm not sure you can fit anymore, can you? Let's take a look here. So if you're playing Canis Rex for 415, I guess you should be able to, right? Because they're sub. Oh no, the Atropos is 400, so it might be tough. And then you take like, yeah, we're gonna be over. It was a Crusader for a while for the Mysterious Guardian. So the Crusader one is 2025. So you would have to cut an Atropos down to like either 2 Atroposes down to Crusaders or like an Atropos down to one of the like shittier ones. Gallons aren't too bad, right? Those see play. That's just the melee guy. Who's the +1 to hit guy? Yeah, I don't know. There's probably other plays we could do. Like, Wardens are probably fine. The Paladin's okay. Paladin gets a second floating reroll. But he has to take a battle cannon is the problem. Yeah, okay. So you can still run Big 5. It's just you get strapped to the number of Atropos you could take, basically. And you start to lose your your enhancements as well. Because you need to take Mysterious Guardian. You probably want to take Banner of Macarius Triumphant, but those two together are 55 points. So you need to start cutting chassis. So it might be that you go 4 bigs, 2 armigers to make up the points. Because that's like 110 less. And then you get a utility unit in there as well. Imperial Knight, Chaos Knight point hikes are not enough. Those will still be trouble. Yeah, it definitely helps. But I think stuff like the Acheron going up is like really weird to me. Because I think that there's like you could see like I don't know, like Questora Styrix can stay at lower points values because they're literally never played. And then you could do an Abominant thing where it's like, well, if you want to play the lighter knights, you just take the shitty ones that don't have good attacks. Which I think should be the case, right? Like the Atropos probably needs to continue to go up. And I imagine like the Crusader and maybe Canis also need to go up. And then like I don't know if necessarily like Cerastus Acheron needs to be at quite as high. And then if you want to take the 5 bigs, you have to take the shitty bigs, and then your opponent like might not die. The ones that aren't killing you, like one-shotting you in melee or like two-shotting you at range. Chaos Knights, I think, saw some similar changes. You can find their age on the document. Boop. So very similar. Knight Abominant went up 30. Desecrator went up 30. Despoiler. I think Abominant definitely needed to go up 30. It does make me a little sad though, because I actually really liked its profile, or I like its profile in the codex. But definitely, being able to take 6s was crazy. I think the 6 is dead, right? The triple abominant is 1065, so we would need to fit. We would need to fit 3 knights into 935, which is impossible because there's nothing that's less than like 310. So, the Lords of Dread 6 knights is dead. You're probably at 5 and war dogs most likely plus demons, which honestly might make your list better. But it does throw a wrench in the works for the people playing like the big Lords of Dread builds, which I don't feel too bad about. But the list we saw, like the kind of like honorable Chaos Knights list we saw at the GT this weekend at Summer Slaughter, it was kind of a good example where it's like 3 to 4 bigs plus like 3 to 4 war dogs, and that felt like pretty well rounded. I actually really liked that list. It definitely wasn't like pushing really hard into the super torqued profiles. So Abominant up 30, Desecrator up 30, Despoiler up 40. That's deserved. Rampager up 30, Ruinator up 25. There's another one that's like you could almost leave that. Like its profiles are so inconsistent. It's like, I don't know. I'll play against 6 bigs if 3 of them are Ruinators, I guess. Carnivore up 10 because they largely didn't change from their index version, so they mostly got buffed actually, because they got -1 to hit but gained sustained hits, which is mathematically the same. Acheron went up 30, Atropos went up 40, Cascaded up 30, so they're the same changes as we saw from the other stuff. Warpborn Stalker actually went up 15 from Lords of Dread as well, which I guess was fair. It was 10 points. It was pretty wild. It was like a free inclusion almost. You just got that for freezies. Do an all War Dogs list. I mean, that used to be literally just the meta, but you can still do it. You can either just play 3s of every War Dog and 1 big, or you can play all War Dogs if you play Hound Pack Lance, which is neat. So definitely still gonna be in the meta, and I think this doesn't feel like the worst change in the world for Chaos Knights. This feels like it's gonna bring Chaos Knights down to a reasonable level. Imperial Knights, I'm still worried. Is Imperial Knight still being able to take like 4 to 5 bigs because they're so tanky is, I think, still going to be a little problematic. But I don't know how they change that without changing the faction mechanics, to be honest. Unless they just nerf them into oblivion and make them entirely like invalidate the whole army. The problem is that the scuttlebutt that I've heard is that the previous points were based on the codex, and because we haven't had the codex for a million years, we're basically paying codex points for an unnerfed army that was meant to get rewritten in the codex and it hasn't happened yet. So that was what I heard was broken about them. It does still feel like they're probably going to be strong, but maybe not quite as skewed as previously. So the weaker factions into them might have more of a chance, which is all we're asking for. I don't want knights to disappear entirely. It is an army that people love. But I do think at the current level of representation, it was pretty disgusting. Codex Death Guard. Let's get into the big one, chat. Was running 3 bigs and 7 war dogs. Actually sounds horrifying. It is crazy when you consider like how many war dogs you get to fit to an army. Once you start removing the super heavies, and you're like, wait, each super heavy is 3 war dogs. Like, I actually have so many of these little fuckers. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Canis needs to be more. Canis. Yeah. Probably. But I so liked him out of faction, though. I want Canis to still be 380 if you don't play him in Imperial Knights. It was such... We talked about this yesterday, so I don't want to go into this point too much. But it was like such an indictment of the Imperial Knights faction, like index rules, where you could play Canis Knights in any faction. He loses army rolls. He loses Code Chivalric, he loses detachment ability, and he's still good. And he's good to the point where you could pay significantly less points for him, and he's not broken. And it was just like, man, the index rules for this army are fucking insane. They're so crazy. And they're basically just like, they're part of the problem for why this like matchup is so skewed, because everything has a million wounds and a million attacks and rerolls out the wazoo, and a feel no pain. And if you just don't play those, he's like kind of squishy actually, and he's just like a late game beater, which I think is fine. That's a fine place for him. But unfortunately, everyone will have to pay their new points for him, so it is what it is. I'm gonna shift my angle over here. I feel like I'm obscuring the values. Oop. All right, Codex Death Guard, what do we got going on? So Biologist Putrefier went up 15. Deathshroud Terminators went up a flat 20. What a weird choice. So they just went up 20 points a unit, full stop. But I guess that was largely because people were taking them in threes. Like most of the time in threes, because with a Lord of Contagion, you literally did not need more than 3 to kill 90% of things in the game, because their output's so ridiculous. The Lord of Contagion has like 4 attachment abilities, right? He gains 4+ feel no pain, gives sustained hits, gives lance. What the fuck is that? So 3+ Lord of Contagion, you didn't really need to take any more than that. So I guess that they're just mostly discounting the 6-mans. And it's now 440 points for a 6-man with Lord of Contagion. Lord of Contagion went up 10. I still feel like this is low, but maybe it's fine. He is only 1 man, but he does have a AP3 3 damage lance attack, which is a little crazy. He has the offensive profile of most of many melee vehicles in the game. And he's 120 points and regenerates himself. So I don't know, chat. So let's see. Fetid Bloat Drone went up 10. Heavy Blight Launcher Bloat Drone went up 20. Foul Blight Spawn went up 15. Lord of Virulence went up only 10. Again, for a force multiplier, that's pretty wild. My Fetid Blight Haulers went up only 10. I think these could have gone up 20. 100 points for them still feels like an absolute steal. For a unit that's +1 a hit and wound, and has smoke, and has an invuln save, and is relatively fast, and like an independent operator. Wild. Plagueburst Crawler went up 15. Puxwalkers went up 10, or 5 for 10. No change on the 20 men. The 20 men was more expensive. I guess because they were worried that you would like take 20s and then regenerate them. Never. Never happening. We're gonna spam 10s all day. That's wild. Tallyman was 40 points, chat. What the fuck, dude? He only went up 10. Okay. Typhus went up 10 as well. It's fair. Tenderless Emissions went up 10 to 30 points, which feels still very good. So the standard Mortarian's Hammer list, the triples, the all triples list, went up. I think it was usually 2 Deathshroud Terminator breaks, right? So those both went up 30 with Lords of Contagion. So that's 60 points. It was usually 3 heavy blow drone launchers, so that's 120. Like 1-ish regular blow drone, so 130. One Lord of Virulence, so 140. 3 Blight Haulers, so now we're up to 170. 3 Plagueburst Crawlers, so we went up another 45, so 215. Poxwalkers, we usually took 2 units, so we went up 10 points, so 225. Tallyman, 235. Went up 235 points. So we basically lose... we lose, like, 2 bloat drones, basically. Is that enough, chat? We did see some nerfs to the more, like, fair builds. The ones playing, like, Plague Marines and things. That have higher close range damage, but not as good at shooting. Because we saw, like, Biologist Putrefier go up. So if you play, like, Putrefier plus Plaguecaster combos, those went up 15, I guess. Wait, how much is the Plaguecaster in this? He did not go up, right? He's still 60. Yeah, that still feels low. The weird part about this codex is that they can survive, I think, like an infinite number of nerfs because the codex is so fucking deep because they made everything good. They just nerfed the super degenerate like artillery list, but the other lists are largely unchanged. If you ran like a list with like 2 Plague Marine bricks, you went up 30, 40 for the Tallyman, and then like maybe 60 for your Death Charmer. So you went up like 100-ish, 110 maybe because of Poxwalkers on a more like well-rounded army out of like Virulent Victorium or Champions of Contagion. So those still seem very playable. So it still feels like we're gonna see Death Guard near the top. It does feel less likely to be No Mortarian Hammer, which I think is good because that was a really toxic, no pun intended, play style. But I think there is a lot of depth in the faction you can still explore. It's gonna be good. Every Death Guard list went up by 120. I don't think that's true. Every Death Guard list, if you ran the Blow Drone combo, yes. But if you did, but if you didn't play the Blow Drone combo, then it didn't go up as much. Hammer list is now 2 Lords of Contagion, Lord of Virulence, 3 Death Shroud, 3 Blight Launcher Blow Drones, 2 Haulers, 3 Poxwalkers, 2 PBC. So you lose a PBC, you lose a Blight Hauler, I guess, like largely. Yeah, I wonder where they have to be to get the Lord of Virulence HBL Blow Drone combo into a reasonable spot. I don't want to say that I like the combination. I like it when the game encourages you to combine effects together and do a cool thing. But I do wonder if the Lord of Virulence's ability was too strong, because it like immediately restricts the cap of damage you can do with blast weapons, and the heavy blow throw like also getting buffs with its blast weapons was crazy. So I don't know. But anyway, chat, it'll be an interesting weekend this week to see how things work out. There were no other changes whatsoever. So there was a lot of rumored changes to other factions, like rumored changes to Tyranids, rumored changes to Thousand Suns. None of that materialized. So these are the only updates that we've seen, which means the next 2 to 3 weeks before we see like maybe a more official balanced data slate is going to be crazy. Because I think there's going to be some factions that really like come to the fore. I'm interested to see if Tyranids have what it takes to make it. Like I'm curious to see whether or not these nerfs will send people off of like just knights, because it's no longer quite as like roll face on keyboard, like literally drool into your opponent's mouth and then win the game. But we'll see. I don't know. And I think Thousand Suns are looking pretty strong because none of the rumored changes that they were supposed to get happened, and they're right on the cusp. Astra Militarum probably looking pretty good. We saw like wild performance from Drukhari previously. Obviously, Black Templars is doing fairly well. So there's like this opens up the possibility for a million things to be good, because we didn't see any other preemptive nerfs. And while I'm a little worried about that, what heartens me is that if in the next month, because we have a data slate on the regular schedule, if in the next month something pops out and is like, hey guys, we didn't think of this, it's like the shark beneath the waters, and suddenly it's really broken, we actually may just see another change to fix it, which would be really cool. So I don't know. I'm excited, chat. I'm also, as much as it's like annoying for the people who had to deal with Death Guard for a while, I do appreciate that they didn't just kill the whole faction, because that is annoying when they do it. When they do it to like orcs or whatever, and they're like, they just hand out like 7 nerfs. and the faction's just literally unplayable after that. And I think it would be difficult for them to do that. They would have to hit like basically the entire codex, because there's no non-playable data sheets in this list. Besides this one, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's nice that at the very least they're still going to be, I guess, like strong at least for a bit. And if they're still too strong, they can get hurt. They hit again in a couple weeks. Then bring them back. Anyway, so that's what I have to say. That's the updates, chat. That's what we got going on. If you're in T5S2, by the way, I actually held off. I had some like a couple of minutes yesterday, and so I was gonna start pairing new pods. And I was like, I'll wait till Wednesday just in case there's an update. And if you're in T5S2, I will likely be dropping new pods today, out of the wait lists. So that should be fun. And with this in mind, I feel like we should maybe put together a new GT or something. The Wargamers Welcome GT, the largest GT we've ever run, 200 players, is over. The end date has officially occurred. However, there were a couple games outstanding that wanted to play this week, so prizes haven't been put out yet. But that means that we do have an open spot. There is a new, obviously a new Crusade event going down in the server, but we could do another GT or something, which I think would be really interesting for the next month or so. So I don't know. That's probably what happens. Wouldn't be surprised if Eldar catches another. Oh yeah, Eldar actually really strong. Eldar may end up just coming in as the strongest faction. Although I feel like to some extent, they were buoyed up a little bit by the fact that every single army, like half their matchups were knights, and they automatically beat knights. Like it's not even like particularly that much of a game. They just win. They get paired into knights, it's a W. If you're playing Eldar Warhost with Fire Dragons. The number of times I've watched that matchup and the number of times knights have won is literally 0. So if knights lose play rates, Eldar might actually be worse. We'll see. I think they're still good enough anyway. And I do think that if other factions pop up, like if we see Subterranean Assault in a big way with like a million monsters, you just run Fire Dragons, you just beat that anyway. Subterranean Assault has nothing to do with transports, and so like they have to commit into the transports to kill them. Fire Dragons pop out and they just kill the monster that killed the transport, and they just do that again. So I think that's probably, I don't know. There's definitely like other matchups that they could just win, but we'll see. We'll see, chat. We'll see. Eldar batted to MSU. Yeah. So like if the alternate so that we're at a divergent point of universes here. In one way, we see the armies that died to like Death Guard and Knights, because like they couldn't trade monsters' vehicles into them. They start to see play. Then Eldar is going to be good because they're going to kill them even harder. If, on the other hand, the armies that couldn't like reliably kill knights because they had like too many small units, so like Blood Angels, or Dark Angels, like Space Marine factions, Eldar feels not that great into like a million tiny Space Marine units. So I think like Eldar into like Black Templars doesn't feel quite as strong, or Blood Angels feels like they might have a little struggle. They're definitely not like auto lose or anything, but it does feel like they're not going to be quite as good. So it depends on how people shift into one of those two directions. Like either can I play my vehicles now because they're not immediately going to be killed by Blight Launchers and by Cerastus Knight Atropos, or am I going to play a bunch of MSU because it was like an archetype that was forced out of the meta by Knights? And that's going to determine a lot. I don't know. It's an inflection point that I think is going to be cool. People who stop teching for Knights or Death Guard after the change are going to get trashed. Yeah, I agree with that. You can't write them off entirely for sure. But I think the interesting thing is that like you still kind of have to tech for Knights, but they're probably going to be like whatever a not insignificant proportion fewer Knights players because it's not quite as easy anymore. And so I don't know. The tech might actually end up hurting you in the long run. We'll see. We saw Blood Angels at Eldar. That was savage. Yeah, that game was insane. Zach Hiltz is like such a fucking intelligent player. Oh my god. Watching him play is like, I don't know. just all his like reactive moves and his little counterplays and stuff were like super cool, dude. That game was, despite the fact that we're talking about semifinals of Summer Slaughter, despite the fact that the game was like a huge blowout, watching it happen was like you know, someone like a bull strikes. You know, it was like, whoa, this is like actual skill like being showed off here. This is wild. Triple Repulsor Executioner, Black Templars. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. That sounds miserable. Repulsor Executioners with 7-man sword brethren squads inside. Yucky. Yucky. A lot of knights going for sale soon, yeah. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I'm going to go ahead and redirect you to my 2 p.m. stream. So a couple hours from now, you should be... We'll be watching the T5S2 Invitational Group A Finals. Darren versus Deimos. It's going to be Adeptus Mechanicus versus Astra Militarum. It's Mass Infantry Skitari Hunter Cohort versus Mass Tank Hammer of the Emperor. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm kind of interested to see that matchup. Darren has come out undefeated from it, so we'll see if he can continue to do so. Anyway, folks, that's what's going on in about 3 hours or so, 3.5 hours. Until then, keep it classy, have happy wargaming, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, everyone.